What does home mean when it's always just out of reach? For Michelle, the answer changed every few years. Each time a lease ended, a landlord sold a building, or a notice appeared on her door. She's a mom of 3, born and raised on the Lower East Side, and like so many New Yorkers, she's done the math that never adds up. Rent or groceries, daycare or a shift at work, a roof or everything else.
So that as far as jobs, you nitpick on what jobs you want because of that. If it's certain hours where you know your child is going to be home and there's nobody to watch them, you're not going to want to take that job because I know I can't afford the child care. So who's going to tend to my kid? My child cannot be left unattended. There's so many things that could go wrong. I think it comes to it when you nitpick with certain jobs because you don't know what you're going to take from. I don't even think you leave time for yourself when you running around crazy doing all these tending to children and trying to find a place to live and, make sure the schooling is right for the kids and making sure you have what you need in your home. You get to it when you get to it.
That's what we at Robinhood call the cost of choice, the impossible trade-offs poverty forces on people every day. In a city where 2 million renters spend more than 30% of their income just to stay housed, and those in poverty spend nearly 3/4, Michelle's story isn't an exception. It's the rule. She's one of millions navigating an affordability crisis that defines life in New York, where a single rent bill can decide everything else. What you eat, where your child sleeps, how long you can hold on. But for Michelle, that math finally changed when she connected with Anthos Home, a Robinhood-funded organization helping families use housing vouchers to move quickly into permanent homes. For the first time in years, she had a key to a door that stayed hers. From Robinhood, New York City's largest poverty-fighting philanthropy, this is This Robinhood Moment. I'm Corey Winter. In this episode, we follow Michelle's story, a New Yorker navigating the cost of choice and what it means to finally hold the key to her own home. So the first time you walk into PATH, the city's intake center for families entering shelter, you're not thinking about paint colors or natural light. You're thinking about proof that you were displaced, that you've got nowhere else to go.
Okay, so when you go into what's called PATH, that's the beginning of the shelter. When you go to PATH, it's basically you telling them I have nowhere to go. I was displaced. I was in a home that was going under foreclosure, so I was forced to leave.
Michelle had been here for years. Each stay meant starting over. New commute, new clinic, new school.
But they place you depending on, they try to keep you in the area of your children's school, even though they bust them. So my son was in school in the Bronx. They kept me in the Bronx, but I wasn't like 3 blocks from his school. I was a little 20-minute, maybe half an hour ride from the school. So no, you have no choice on where they place you. They put you in any borough they want, anywhere.
That word, choice, comes up a lot in Michelle's story. But for her, choice wasn't freedom. It was survival.
My normal day was taking my son to school, me going to work, and while at work on breaks, searching for an apartment. Those were my normal days. Coming home, picking up my child, going back to our shelter, and doing it again the next day. It was very, very stressful, very stressful.
And that's how poverty narrows your world. The choices never stop, but none of them feel like options. Michelle was offered 1-bedrooms, far too small for a growing boy.
So I was looking on my own, is what it was. And I was having a really, really hard time because having a preteen and them offering only 1 bedrooms. And Housing Connect, though it's awesome, they're not spacious at all, at all. So I seen a few, and it's not that I didn't want them, it's that I'm looking at them and I'm like, I have a 12-year-old and I'm gonna have to sleep on a bunk bed. I personally was not being picky. I was willing to take that 1 bedroom. Just give me a 1 bedroom with space. You know, he is a preteen. He was 11 going on 12 when we was there. Boy's a boy. To share a room with his mom is like, you know, so something a little spacious where I know he will have his space and be comfortable and I will have my space and be comfortable. That was my main goal.
Her job at the hospital bounced between shifts. Good pay, bad hours. She wanted something steady, but steady often pays less.
I wanted something where at least a sensible time where I was home with him. The hospital ping-ponged me. I could be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. I could be 6 in the morning to 2. I could be, 4 to 7. So my hours ping-ponged. That was not. It was a good job, but it was not for me. My son, like I said, is also 12. So in this day and age, I'm a realistic mom. The streets are swallowing up our babies, okay? Realistically, they really is. I'll be there if I let it take mine. So, no.
And that's another cost of choice. Choosing time with your child over the paycheck that keeps your home. She was making choices no parent should have to make. Between work and care, survival and safety. So Michelle switched careers, becoming a paraprofessional with the Department of Education. Predictable hours, less chaos, and more stability. That's the cost of choice in New York City, when every decision has a price tag, and you're the one paying it. When Michelle's shelter director saw her pushing hard, working, searching, parenting, she made a call.
And then the director saw that I was working. I was doing my part. I was really, really trying. It's not like I sat there all day and lived off of them. No, I got up in the morning. I was getting up at 4:30, taking my son to who he had to go to so I can go to work. And so they introduced me to Denise. And that's who I started with. Yeah, lovely person, lovely.
Anthos Home exists to make that next choice. The choice to stay, to settle, to rebuild, actually possible. They do the work in between, helping families navigate the paperwork, persuading landlords, cutting through the red tape that too often turns a housing voucher into a dead end.
I didn't really know how city FEPs worked. I was new to that myself. So I thought if I didn't find something in a certain amount of time, they would be like, well, she just doesn't need this anymore, and take it away from me. And then I'm like in my head, oh my God, just pick something because you don't want to lose this. This is right at the moment. This is the only help that's available. There isn't really no Section 8. NYCHA's wait list is, who knows? I've been on that since maybe 1998. And I still haven't been called. So Anthos Home came in a little while after. But I've been through a few caseworkers when I was in the shelter as well. But that last one that I had, she was awesome. Like she saw me pushing, so she pushed for me, if you understand. Like I didn't have to communicate with Anthos Home as far as if it was an issue. I'll find out for you. Go about your day, go do your job. Don't worry about it. I can help you.
After years of waiting, one sound changed everything.
I know what I'm waking up to, and I know what I'm going to sleep to, in a sense. I don't have to worry about if I get up tomorrow, are they going to try to change me to a different place? Because that's possible when you're in the shelter. It's possible, okay, well, you've been here too long. Now we're going to send you over here. And so it's just like I know what I'm waking up to, and I know what I'm going to sleep to. I'm going to sleep to my home, and I'm waking up in my home.
Routine came back, and so did rest.
I cook daily. Saves money. Outside food is very expensive. So...
And that Christmas, for the first time in years, she bought a tree.
Okay, Christmas. I was able to put up a tree. I was able to decorate. Where we was at before, we couldn't have a tree. we had limited space, so there was actually limit to what we was allowed to bring in. So having my own now was like, baby, you want a big tree? We could get a big tree. You want it to be real and not plastic? We can do that as well. So, and I love Christmas. So that to me, the holidays was the best. We put the tree up. We do the baby stuff still. We do the hot chocolate. We watch the movies. Yeah, we have the whole family over. Like I tell you, very family orientated. Exchange gifts. We did the little grab bag between us. So yeah, it was exciting.
With a permanent home, Michelle could start looking forward.
What I want to do with myself. That's what I'm able to focus on. That's why I said I'm good where I'm at. And if I want to, I'm able to move up to be a sub-teacher, maybe even a teacher, because I'm stable. I know my son has a place to go to if needed to be. After school, I got to do something. You can go home, lock them doors, you'll be okay, boy. But it's stability. Before that, I couldn't send him anywhere on his own. I had to be there with him. So myself as growing.
And that's what the end of the cost of choice looks like, when every either or finally becomes an and. Her youngest daughter and granddaughter moved in briefly. Shelter wasn't working for them. And watching her mother's persistence, her daughter enrolled in security classes and is now preparing to move into her own apartment.
And because she knows she's on her way into her apartments, she's getting herself to where she needs to be. So I think there's a positive impact on your children. If you show them you're going to end up in a positive position yourself, then it's positive.
And this is how stability multiplies. One family finding footing, another following behind. And when people say, just move somewhere cheaper, Michelle knows that cheaper costs more than it seems. Losing family support, transit, and safety nets that make survival possible.
So moving somewhere where I have nobody is going to cost me more at the end, because now I need someone to tend to him. I need to figure out how to travel. I might end up needing a car where I'm at because there's no public transportation. So that's another cost right there. That means insurance. That means gas. So yeah.
Housing assistance isn't a handout. It's the floor that keeps families from falling through. In fact, Robin Hood's poverty tracker shows that programs like Section 8 and City FEPS cut poverty among recipients from 55% to 37%, keeping 150,000 New Yorkers above the poverty line and sparing another 140,000 from deep poverty. That's what's at stake if these programs are cut. Not numbers, but people like Michelle, for whom every choice already comes at a cost. Ask Michelle what housing means, and she doesn't hesitate.
To me, housing matters. One is you have a lot of families who are broken up because they're homeless. Like I say, adult children who once was in a home with their family is probably now somewhere, who knows where, displaced. Or if they had somewhere to go from the beginning, they could have been together. So it's just about family, keeping family together.
She's lived what most people never have to imagine. The uncertainty, the judgment, the strain, but also the relief that comes from a key that finally fits. When Michelle locks her door each night, she's not thinking about programs or statistics. She's thinking about the ordinary things that stability allows. A meal she cooked, a safe bed for her son, the sound of laughter from the next room. That's what housing assistance makes possible. Not luxury, but peace. And behind every success story like Michelle's are the people who make the system work. Organizations like Anthos Home and the city leaders working to ensure that families can not only find housing, but keep it. For Michelle, the difference is simple. She no longer measures life by what she can sacrifice. For the first time, her choices don't cost her everything. Michelle's story is one of thousands unfolding across New York City. Families fighting to stay housed in a place they love, and the people working behind the scenes to make that possible. So if you want to understand the bigger picture, the systems that either open doors or keep them closed, listen next to A Voucher Should Mean a Home. That episode follows Laura Lazarus, co-founder of Anthos Home, the nonprofit that helped Michelle find her apartment. Laura and her team are taking on one of the city's toughest challenges, turning a housing voucher from a promise into a lease. You'll hear how they've helped hundreds of families move from shelter into permanent homes, and what it takes to make that system work the way it should. And then step further upstream in rent or everything else, the cost of keeping your home. That episode explores what happens after a family finally gets their keys and how the city is rebuilding the safety net so people can not only find housing, but keep it. It's a look inside the policies that shape lives like Michelle's every single day. Together, these stories paint a fuller picture of the cost of choice, what stability costs, who's fighting to protect it, and how one key in the right hands can change everything. I'm Corey Winter for This Robin Hood Moment, a podcast from Robin Hood, New York City's largest local poverty-fighting philanthropy. Thanks for listening and for being part of the conversation.